My opposition speech will be starting in 3, 2, 1. The metropolitan cities is simply a better place for people to live because in metropolitan cities there are more adequate public infrastructure that can compensate and accommodate the overpopulation that the metropolitan cities itself is experiencing. In metropolitan cities, even though they are high priced, the state or the state that manages the city or the city itself can implement a policy that is inclusive, which means it will consider the influx of people that is coming to the city, so that the prices will be capped at a certain point, so that people from everywhere can buy it or can use it. The creation of slum areas, the increased crime rate, and also the inability to access clean water and hygiene environment can also be solved by creating flats that provide those access to clean water and hygiene environment. These flats or space effective buildings need to be able to have access to clean water and hygiene environment. By doing so, people that is from some areas will be advised to move there with no cost at all, and basically with just like a very affordable price for them to move to those flats. By doing so, the city or the state that manages the city will be able to observe those people and educate those people more, so that they will be able to get a job, while also decreasing the crime rate that is happening in metropolitan cities. The statement of dream urban cities are the only way success is created because the metropolitan city, because of the long history of the metropolitan cities. Metropolitan cities isn't usually a cities that wanted to get big, that they wanted to be a metropolitan cities, but it's a city that is basically because of the placement of the city itself, the location of the city itself, because the city location itself is very strategic, which causes many people from many regions to interact with each other, which causes them to trade, to barter products, and also talk about business there. And in those process, the people will also think of basically living in those cities, which make living space very tight in metropolitan cities. The other problem with it is that because of rule. Now the problem with it now, there are so many high educated people in metropolitan cities, which causes the rural areas to think that there are much more job opportunities in metropolitan cities without thinking the risk of it. Because of that, there are so many migration or urbanization that is happening because of the lack of education that is happening. We can send an official to the rural cities and told them the risk of them, but the chance of them actually listening to the advice and to the advice of the state official, or even to the people that says it, is very minimal. So how do we solve it? Rather than doing financial incentive, which can be misused and cause many problems at the same time, because financial incentive in the history can cause many things and many risks, such as corruption, misuse for illegal activities, misuse for terrorist activities, rather than doing misuse for a benefit of a private sectors, rather than for the people to move to the rural areas. Rather than doing that, the city or the state that manages the city should facilitate or should provide a way, an affordable way for people that have failed after coming to urbanization to go back to the rural areas, because people from rural areas, when they come to the city, they will be searching for a job. But then if they fail to get a job, they won't be able to go back to the rural areas because of the high price in the city itself. So in those cases, we need to create something to provide or facilitate those group of people, so that they will be able to go back to the rural areas and basically inform the people in rural areas of the true risk of what is happening in metropolitan cities. What's the difference from sending an official there? The difference is that if you send back a person that has been there for quite a long time, or for their own childhood there, the person that comes back will be able to explain it more properly, and the people that live in rural areas will trust that person more than an official, because I mean the person that live in the rural areas itself has known this person for quite a long time. That's why they will be able to easily trust these people more than they trust a state official. The problem with private sector moving to the rural areas is not only based on customer base. It's also on the cost and a way of distribution to those rural areas. Sometimes rural areas doesn't have facility to that facilitate them to for distribution to go well to there. But it doesn't seems to be a state negligence too, because the state has been have been going there, have been building infrastructure in rural areas. It's just that the state haven't provided a way or a reason for people to move there. Rather than providing a reason to move to rural areas by basically giving them a financial incentive, we should provide an affordable way for people that have come from rural areas to urban areas to search for a job, but then they failed. We should provide and facilitate for those kind of people to be able to go back to their rural areas. By doing so, we will be sending those people back to their areas. Those people will be able to make a living by basically using their connection in the rural areas, and then those people will also we can also inform the people in rural areas of the risk of metropolitan areas, and and the state need to also keep building infrastructure there so that they will feel the differences. Oh, okay, our rural areas is actually being developed. By doing so, they will be more reluctant to go to metropolitan areas, and we can really achieve the equality that we want to between rural areas and metropolitan areas. The state also should also create a commodity that is special to those rural areas, because metropolitan cities happen to be created because there are like a special commodities that is centered there, a social center of like a very big region, and also facilitate the input and output of the city itself by providing harbor, airports, and those things. Because by providing those kind of things to rural areas too, so now the rural areas can easily improve much more faster than the metropolitan cities that have been capped by the space problem, because the space is limited. So in conclusion, the city should provide or facilitate people that wanted to go back to rural areas so that they will be able to grow their own rural areas and inform people in rural areas of the risk that can happen by urbanization to metropolitan areas. By doing so, the state will also facilitate what they need in rural areas so that they will be reluctant to go back to metropolitan areas.